right now our climate trajectory is going in the wrong direction, we need to accept that the 2023 increased GHG emissions went up, not down, went up by 1.3%. It's basic physics. And so we can't really argue with it. We emit 57 gigatons a year into the atmosphere, and we have 200 left if we are not to bypass 1.5. So the task before us, therefore, is to take every action that we can. And here, the building and construction sector is very important because that contributes 21% to the greenhouse gas emissions.
So when you start to think about the contribution of buildings, 10 gigatons of carbon dioxide, and we start to look at what we can do in buildings, we're talking about energy efficiency, we're talking about passive cooling. And if we take in measures to retrofit buildings, we will reduce emissions. We're going to talk about the materials that we use to make sure that we use materials that are lower in emission. We also need buildings to be future-proofed. The world we're going to live in is warmer, so we're going to talk about extreme heat. That is why the work of the Global Alliance of Buildings and Construction is so important. It highlights what we can do.
At least 10 countries have recorded daily temperatures of more than 50 degrees in more than one location. July 2024 was the hottest month ever on record since global records began, and that was in 1850. And human beings cannot survive at extreme temperatures of 40 to 50 degrees. WEF estimates that 60,000 people will die annually due to heat by 2030. Every city needs to understand who and what is impacted by heat and take action to mitigate the consequences.
At this pavilion, but also at the multi-level action pavilion, we organized quite many sessions on engagement of the subnational governments, cities and regions. So this kind of multi-level governance approach, the whole of society approach, remains to be very important. In summary, we saw so many technical solutions which exist. They need to be scaled up. And our colleagues from private sector, they say funding is existing. So I think the key is still partnership and cooperation.
So as a country, some of the best practices we see in enhancing this collaboration, this ICBC, is one, let's have very clear, measurable objectives that align with both national and collective global climate goals. We also need to purpose to have a platform for knowledge sharing among member states. Thirdly, we also need to purpose to raise our membership subscription to have at least all the members of UN FCC join this very important ICBC, which focuses on buildings and climate. And number 4, we also need to work together to develop collaborative policy frameworks that support sustainable building practices across borders.
We are hoping to develop with the Secretariat, UNEP, and with our two co-chairs, Kenya and France, a program of work that will bring us to Berlin with a more significant body of knowledge, data, and inputs, so that when we get to Berlin, we will sit in a ministerial which will have hopefully 3 characteristics: a significant more number of members to ICBC. The second is, how do we build alliances that reinforce what we are trying to do here? And last but not least, the issue of how do we address the informal sector of the building environment, which is significant, particularly in the global south.
There's an incredible awareness growing. We have this year a buildings pavilion that is incredibly alive. It's really flourishing, many initiatives, many people coming, many people talking, more and more every year. It's really something that is amazing, and the initiatives are really working very well. We never would have thought last year that we would be at this point, at this moment. In 1 year, we had the launch of the Buildings Breakthrough at COP29. We had the Global Forum on Buildings and Climate organized in Paris. We had the Déclaration de Chaillot endorsed by 64 plus countries. And now we have, for the first time, we had the first ministerial meeting at COP, really talking about that question. And this meeting is going to happen each year now. So it's incredible. I mean, we have an incredible momentum and we are really growing and building on this momentum.
We see now a lot of momentum and collaboration here at this COP. People want to focus on COP30 in 1 year to come back and show progress. We are working with the Buildings Breakthrough, governments and stakeholders who are working on capacity building. They're working on public procurement. They're working on, as I mentioned, alignment behind standards so that we really understand what is our goal, what is a near zero emission and resilient building we want to have by 2030, how do we measure it, and then how do we require it through procurement. That is what we are discussing here at COP29 and what we work on together towards COP30. So the buildings movement will be very strongly at COP30.